I have freshly awoken from my slumber, and I just had this on my mind since 5 a.m. So we're going to talk about it. I wanted to do a video because I've been requested so much on like how do I approach different people on, you know, starting recovery. How do I talk to my friend who's in recovery? How do I do this who's in recovery? Or how do I talk to somebody with an eating disorder? And, the questions of the like. And I realize I have had a lot of experience talking to people with eating disorders, talking to people in recovery. The type of recovery is ranging from alcoholism to drug addiction, everything. Because once you say that you're in recovery from something, people open up. It's kind of cool. But I've had a lot of conversations, and I've had a lot of people come to me who maybe have an eating disorder and they talk to me about it, or who have a sibling who has an eating disorder, or the like. I've had a lot of those conversations, so you'd think I know what to say, but I do not. And I feel like there is like no cookie cutter eating disorder because there are no. It is a brain thing, and your brain changes, and like that causes you to do some crazy behavior. Now, eating disorders are kind of predictable, so it's the same kind of behavior. The obsession for food, always thinking about food, watching food porn, getting a kick out of people eating high calorie foods. Like, that's all very common, but like the rules and the body checking, it's all manifested differently. So, like, it's just enough variation to like cast doubts, because you know that everybody's into denying that they have an eating disorder. It's just enough to cast doubts. I'm going with this because you're going to deal with people just giving you excuses all the time if you're trying to convince them that they have an eating disorder, which is not your job. So I've I've had a lot of conversations, and I'm going to go back to that, but I've heard a lot of people say to me, like, I know that my friend has an eating disorder, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to like invite them out to eat all the time. I'm gonna cook for them. I'm gonna make them eat when they're with me, and I'm just like, that is a mistake, because eating disorders are making them not want to eat. If you put yourself in the position of the enforcer in the mafia of the eating disorder realm, you're gonna be kicked to the curb. You are now an instrument of fear in their life instead of someone they can go to have comfort. That is the job of either themselves or their therapist or their inpatient facility. That's their job. Your job is to support them. So I don't want to get into this though. I'm not directing you on how to act. I'm just saying don't be the enforcer. I'm I'm just giving knowledge to the fact that it's hard, because you need to find your own motivation for anything. If you want to go to college, maybe it's because your parents forced you, or maybe it's because you want to be the first person in your family to go to college. Like, there are different motivations for everything, and especially for eating disorders. And like, it is hard for me when I'm talking to all these people and I give them my bread and butter, what made me recover. It's hard for me to like have them deny it, like that not be enough for them. Like, my main reason for recovery was I didn't want to get osteoporosis at the age of 30. And then I dropped that, and then the sick facts about that, and it does nothing. And I'm like, but that was my everything. How could you not? Like, what are you Come on. And then they find something else. They find they find a girl, they find a job, what have you be, and that is the reason. But for me, mine was I didn't want to get osteoporosis, and how could anybody try to argue that? What I'm saying with this is that there is no formula for anything when it comes to eating disorders. There's no formula for how you recover. There's no formula for if you're actually sick. There's no formula for figuring out anything. Which is very frustrating because I just want people to acknowledge they're sick, and then they do this sick addition in their head, like, okay, I'm not, like, super underweight, but I'm also, like, exercising, but, like, at the same time, I'm not on the TLC, like, and then it's like, how do I do the arithmetic to warrant recovery? I'm going all over the place with this, but really, I'm trying to nail into the fact of jumping into the advice to people who are caring or worried about their person who might have an eating disorder or is in recovery. My top tips for you is do not put yourself in the place of an enforcer. That's their job. That's their recovery. Do not put yourself as a motivation either. Don't say, do this for me, eat this chocolate chip, and it'll show your love for me. You can't do that either. That's just putting you in a vulnerable position because you don't know how power works in the eating disorder, and it doesn't really give a crap about love sometimes. I'm sorry, but that's not going to work either, and that's just going to make you feel like you should go in fetal position and cry. So don't put yourself as the enforcer or the motivation. Your key role here is to be there. I always put myself as the ally. What I say is I call the BS, but I'm going to be here and support you, whatever you do. If you don't eat that entire day, I'm going to ask you why. And I'm going to say those are bullcrap reasons, but at the same time, I accept you. And I'm not going to push food on you. Because if you go into the role of the enforcer, this is a little side, if you go into the role of enforcer and you do get them to eat at 6 p.m., they might know that you're going to get them to eat at 6 p.m., so they're going to starve themselves throughout the day and then starve themselves afterwards. You can't be with them all the time. Just like, I'm not putting myself in the role of somebody who's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing for them to eat. But I just realized when people pushed me to eat, it drove me to push them away. It was just like a magnet, and I just couldn't do it. Like a repulsive magnet. I just hated it. And I don't know if I'm doing things right. I am not a counselor. I'm just somebody who knows a lot about how eating disorders work and how that behavior manifests and what happens in the brain. But I can't tell you the correct comportment to use with every individual. All I'm saying is what I've noticed. I've had a lot of conversations, and it is hard to deal with somebody with an eating disorder. It's frustrating, it's heartbreaking, and it's terrifying. And that's just watching. And if you're putting yourself on the line as the enforcer, as the pusher, as the motivation, you're going to be burned even more. And I don't want that to happen. So be there as an ally, as an advocate, as somebody who they can trust. And I think that's what I wanted to say today at too early in the morning o'clock with my coffee and my nightgown. I am going to go. I hope this has been helpful in some way. And I'm so glad I can be back, and I'm able to make videos just out of popping in the bed, and I don't have to speak Spanish to cashiers. Oh, it's so good. But, I'll talk to you later. How about that? Bye!